Hope you enjoy listening. Before the wedding, my boyfriend said his mother was sick and asked me to go home with him to take care of her. Without any hesitation, I got in the car and went with him. But on the way, he received a call from his ex-girlfriend. His face was full of pain. Tonton's spirit was not very good. He had to go and comfort her. "Get off the car here, my mother will take care of you. Consider it as getting used to the new role." So he left me on the side of the road. I wasn't angry at all. After all, he didn't even care about his own mother, but instead went to coax his ex-girlfriend. I, who was also his ex-girlfriend, have nothing to say. When Zhou Yaoming received the call from Lu Qingqing, he was driving me to visit his mother. He had his earphones on, so I couldn't hear what was being said on the other end. I only saw Zhou Yaoming coaxing me while looking at me with a patient gaze, and finally taking a deep breath. Decided, "Stop crying, I'll come right away. It's okay, she'll understand." After hanging up, he stopped the car on the side of the road, softly told me, "Tonton is mentally unstable, I have to go comfort her." I calmly replied, "Have you thought it through?" His face was a bit impatient. "Tonton just lost her mother and grandmother, please be understanding." I asked again, "Are you sure you want to leave me here?" The impatience on his face was even more obvious. "You're an adult now, get out of the car." I smiled lightly, "Okay." He frowned, changed his sitting position, and seemed to want to say something comforting, but I had already opened the door and got out of the car. His hand stopped in mid-glare, then withdrew, sighing about, "Mom, please come visit her for me. Remember to show up well, try to win her over as soon as possible." After saying that, he drove away. I called a ride-hailing service and went straight to Uncle Ju Min's house to pack up all my things. I had another small apartment and only stayed at his house occasionally for a few days, so I didn't have many things and packed up very quickly. While I was packing, the hospital called and said that the hospital fee for keeping Ms. Man Li's signature had been used up and asked me to pay more. Man Lu is Uncle Ju Min's mother. She is a regular customer of the hospital. I once conveniently paid the hospital bill once, and from then on all the expenses were on me. Uncle Ju Min was so embarrassed that he didn't refuse to pay. But every time he paid, he arbitrarily deducted the change and then delayed for a long time before transferring it. I immediately gave the hospital Uncle Ju Min's phone number, saying that from now on I had nothing to do with it, and told them to call him directly to collect the money. Thinking of my ultimate responsibility, I still called to let him know. But he didn't pick up, and I called several times and his number was blocked. I used another number to text him, explained the hospital bill, and announced our breakup. What happened after that had nothing to do with me anymore. The next day, I went to the company early to ask Uncle Ju Min for his resignation. A few years ago, he asked me to start a business with him, but he wanted me to work for free as an assistant without any status. He said that everything he had was mine, and that he would give me enough pocket money every month so there was no need to worry about shares or position, and that the salary didn't need to be too high to help me avoid taxes. At that time I still loved him, so I agreed to give up a promising job to join his startup, but his words gave me a bad feeling. "I'm serious, I go to work as a legitimate worker. Paying taxes is a matter of course. I have hands and feet, I'm young and healthy, do I have to live on your pocket money? Furthermore, if the name is not legitimate, the profits will not be smooth. What company would let the boss's personal assistant negotiate everywhere? At that time, how can I have the face to manage my subordinates? You opened a serious company, not a private factory or a corporation." Uncle Ju Min looked ugly after hearing that, but in the end he followed my wishes and gave me a position and a reasonable salary. I have to admit that he is quite capable. In recent years, the company has grown from a small office to a 3-story office in the middle of the busiest shopping mall in the city. But that matter has almost nothing to do with me anymore. After we broke up, I would never stay in this company. I just didn't expect to see Lu Qingqing there when I entered Uncle Ju Min's office. Before I could be surprised, he shouted, "What happened to you yesterday? Didn't I tell you to go visit my mother? Did you know? Luckily I sent Tu Tran instead." At that time I had not closed the door yet, and Xiao Chan happened to pass by. After hearing that, his face felt like he was constipated, and he immediately turned around and walked away quickly. Xiao Chan was Uncle Yao Ming's assistant, and was often ordered to do personal work without being paid overtime. I had advised him many times not to go too far, and only then did Uncle Yao Ming reluctantly give him a small raise. I closed the door and smiled faintly. I called to tell him, but at that time he was happily with Luke Tonton, so he blocked my number. Luke Tonton was not happy when she heard that. She immediately said, I know that yesterday it was wrong to disturb Min and Dung, but he and I are innocent. Dung should not defame me like that. Uncle Ju Min also looked away, trembling. Don't talk nonsense. I've made it clear that I'm only here to eat Tonton. Don't think so extravagantly. Ever since yesterday's meal, you've been coming to the company today? Uncle Ju Min was speechless for a moment, then said Tonton wanted to find something to do, so I brought her here. From today on, she will sit in your seat. You'll be the vice director. I was stunned, huh? He was calm. Tonton needed to gain work experience. Don't worry, other than changing your position, your benefits will remain the same. Luke Tonton pretended to be calm. I don't plan on staying at Min's company for long. Ms. Dung doesn't have to worry. I laughed. So who does the work? Between the director and the deputy director, the authority is clearly different. Uncle Ju Min seemed a bit guilty. Tonton has lived abroad for many years. Not used to the domestic working environment. I will help her a little. Okay, Luke Tonton pretended to be generous. Actually, my request is a bit too much. I will think of another way. Wait, Uncle Ju Min held her hand, then turned to me, moved. You should understand a little. I haven't even discussed yesterday with you yet. Here, you two stop acting. I smiled lightly. I quit my job. The news of my resignation quickly spread throughout the company. People in my group sent messages to ask about me, and even asked if I wanted to bring them along. I was really surprised. I didn't expect Uncle Ju Min to be so unpopular. But thinking back, it made sense. When the company was just starting out, it was fine, but as the company grew larger, he became less and less respectful of his employees. Benefits were often cut, and the most the employees received were his generous promises. No matter how much I advised him, he became unhappy and even started explaining to me the so-called leader's mindset. I didn't want to be too ruthless, and I also wanted to take a break before looking for another job, so I politely declined their offer. Those colleagues were all capable, and even if I looked for a job myself, I would definitely find a better place than the one I was currently in. A few days later, I unexpectedly received a call from a headhunting company. The person on the other end of the line said that the one group was willing to pay me double my current salary, along with many other attractive benefits, inviting me to work for them. They also said that if I could bring a team along, the salary could be further negotiated. I hung up the phone with some doubts. When Corporation is one of the largest corporations in the country, and although Uncle Ju Min's company is developing quite well, compared to When Corporation, it is really not on the same level. Why did they send someone to attract me in the group? I thought it was a scam, but when the headhunter sent over the documents, I confirmed that it was indeed When Corporation. I couldn't figure out what connection I had with When Corporation, but since the opportunity came, I couldn't miss it, so I agreed to participate in the interview. At that moment, Uncle Ju Min called me to his office. As soon as I entered, I saw his gloomy face. What happened? Why didn't you cooperate with Tonton? Cooperate with what? Make tea, photocopy, transfer documents. Is that my job? She's new to it. You don't have to be so upset. You can guide her. I'm arranging the handover documents. I'll send them to her soon. Before that, it's best she doesn't bother me. What handover? Even if she's gone, you're still the main director. We've broken up. It's not reasonable for me to stay in the company. Break up? He didn't agree. Uncle Ju Min immediately stood up, his face almost pale. You're going too far, Dung Man. Just because of this time it's over like this? Isn't it just this time? Have you forgotten about 2 years ago? 2 years ago, on our anniversary, Luke Tonton suddenly called to say she had a fever and was feeling unwell. Despite my objections, Uncle Ju Min stubbornly left to take her to the hospital. That time he disappeared for 2 days before returning. Then he tried to apologize, saying he couldn't bear to see Tonton alone in this city, while her mother and grandmother were both out. He promised that something like that wouldn't happen again. Because I still loved her at that time, I forgave him. But I also made it clear there will be no second time. Now hearing me say it again, Uncle Ju Min laughed. Jealous? The past is over and you still remember it. Okay, I promise you, after helping Tonton this time, I will not contact you again. Give me another chance. Don't people say 3 times is a charm? I shook my head. You should worry about how to let her know about the job. His face immediately changed. Are you serious? What if not? I turned and left the office. Just as I closed the door, I heard the sound of smashing things from inside. For me, there is no such thing as a third time's charm. Forgiving once is already a sign of my softening heart because of love. I returned to my office, and as soon as I entered, I saw Luke Tauntaun instructing someone to carry a cardboard box out. That person was too slow to carry it, and when he saw me enter, he felt like a burden had been lifted. I felt cold inside, frowned and asked, "Is it that urgent?" Luke Tauntaun stood there with her arms crossed, said, "Mr. Jumin agreed to let me use this office, so I told someone to move your things out." I gave her a smack. "You can wait for me to come back. Is your upbringing style is to touch other people's things whenever someone is not around?" I took the cardboard box from the person who was carrying it. "You go do something else." The person nodded hurriedly and left immediately. I walked into the office, quickly looking for my things. Luke Tauntaun also hurriedly followed. What was she doing? I checked to see if anything was missing or damaged. She laughed contemptuously. I was probably going to take her things. At that moment, at the bottom of the box, I saw the fountain pen that I was worried about earlier. The moment I saw it, all the blood in my body rushed to my head. The pen that I treasured so much was mixed with the cap in the box. The nib was even split in two. It was obvious that it had been dropped. This was a gift my grandmother gave me when I graduated from high school. After that, she passed away from illness. I still use this pen until now. I took a few deep breaths to suppress my anger, and held the pen out to Luke Tauntaun, asking her how to explain this. Luke Tauntaun was not apologetic at all. She accidentally dropped the cigarette while cleaning up. She should have replaced it with a new one. At that moment, I couldn't hold back anymore and swung my hand to hit her in the face. She was stunned. When she came back, her face was red. She dared to hit me. I gritted my teeth. She deserved to be beaten. I was about to turn it off again, when suddenly someone pushed me hard, hitting the corner of the table. My left hand hurt. Uncle Jumin had a gloomy face, loudly said, "It's just a pen. Is there a need to hit someone?" I stared at him. He knew how much that pen meant to me. "So what? It's just a useless thing anyway." Apologized to Tauntaun. I laughed coldly. "You've come this far, don't blame me for not showing mercy." That very day, I contacted the person in charge of Wensure and said I agreed to bring the whole team over, and at the same time asked my subordinates for their opinions. They already had that intention, so they immediately responded. The day we both submitted our resignations, Uncle Jumin's face turned pale. He shouted, "Do you want me to die? Do you hate me that much?" I was just comforting Tauntaun. "She only ruined one of your pens." Although he was stubborn, he also understood how important my team was to the company. Not to mention that he couldn't pay as much as us. Even if he could, he wouldn't be able to recruit enough replacements in a short period of time. Projects would be delayed immediately. Seeing my expressionless face, he immediately went down. "I will tell Tauntaun to apologize to you and promise to let her leave soon. Okay?" I remained silent. Seeing that flattery was not working, he immediately turned his back. "Think carefully. I might not approve your resignation. Don't forget there is also a non-compete agreement." I really don't believe in his ability to change his voice. If the company really goes bankrupt, he should join a drama troupe and become an actor. I sighed and said, "What are you doing this for? Quitting is a notice, not a request. As for the non-compete agreement, you didn't let us sign it in the first place. I mentioned that to you before, but because of the potential compensation you decided not to sign it." I continued, "We have also contributed to your company for several years. Everyone knows what's going on in the company, so it's best not to make it so tense that both sides suffer. Right?" His face turned red and blue, and in the end he could only force me to sign the resignation letter. When I was packing up to leave, I happened to see Chu Ruming angrily scolding Xiao Chan. "You can't even do a little bit of work. What's the point of keeping you? You're a slob, incompetent, and you don't even try hard at work." Xiao Chen's face turned red with anger, and he finally exploded. "I quit." Zhou Rumingsu was scolded. Then he coldly laughed. He also wanted to learn from Deng Man. "Do you think you have the same ability as her? If you want to leave, then leave." Finally, Xiao Chen left with us. At that time, everyone thought that since he quit so suddenly, it would be difficult for him to find a new job, and they wanted to help out. Unexpectedly, he smiled and told us that he had already started the construction work, and had even received a recruitment notice a few days ago. "So that's how it is." Chu Ruming still said he was worthless. "Now are you shocked?" Xiao Chun also complained to us about the last time he had to take care of Chu Ruming's mother. It turned out that when Mrs. Mengli was in the hospital, she ate and drank carelessly, to the point that she had a severe stomachache that day. And that day I had just broken up with Chu Ruoming, so I didn't come, so she treated him right there on the hospital bed. The nurses refused to clean up, and in the end Xiao Chun had to hold his nose and wipe it all night long. He was so nauseous that he couldn't even swallow his breakfast the next morning. But Mrs. Mengli kept on swearing non-stop. I suddenly understood. No wonder when Chu Ruoming mentioned this matter that day, Xiao Chen's face looked so ugly. The day I came to work at On T, the young general manager on Tianduang shook my hand and greeted me. I had noticed Ms. Deng and her team before. To have achieved such results in just a few years, it was not simple at all. I smiled lightly, it was just luck. When Tianyang also smiled, I have a feeling that when you guys return to Wenshi, you will be even luckier. I looked at Wen Tianyang, absent-minded for a second. It's not because I have any feelings for the young master of the one family whom I've never met before. It's just that for some reason I feel that his face is somewhat familiar. This feeling had never happened before, even though I had seen his picture in many newspapers and financial magazines. I thought that after I quit my job I had completely cut ties with Chu Ruomin, but unexpectedly on the first day after work, I received a call from his mother, Ms. Mengli. On the phone, she scolded me for being ungrateful and irresponsible, saying that for all these years I had lived off Chu Ruomin's money, and now I was just angry and refused to go to the hospital to take care of her, and even betrayed him. I have always seen that you are not suitable for my son. If it were not for his constant insistence, I would not have agreed. You treat him like this without feeling ashamed. When I was still in love with Chu Ruoming, his mother always showed disdain for me, so she and I rarely spoke. After we broke up, I blocked all contact with Chu Ruoming, only forgetting to block her number. At first, I intended to turn off the phone and block her, but her next words made me change my mind. If you have time, tell your parents to meet me. I want to ask them how they raised their daughter. Touching my parents is intolerable. I can't stand it even if I say it, but touching my family is even more unforgivable. I didn't respond politely. Miss, that's my own money, he didn't support me with his money. As for how my parents raised me, you don't need to worry. At least they didn't teach me to get sick and eat carelessly, then make a mess in bed and have someone else clean it up. Before I could finish my sentence, the other side hung up. After blocking Meng Li's number, I felt secretly happy. Luckily, it was inconvenient for her to move around now, otherwise she would definitely come to my parents' house and mess with my shoes. My parents originally didn't approve of me dating Chu Ju-min. When they heard the news of my breakup, they were overjoyed and even celebrated by leaving me behind and flying abroad. What a special way to celebrate. I met Chu Ju-min and Luke Tan again at a real estate brokerage office. A friend of my parents wanted to sell a fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment that had hardly ever been lived in, because he needed capital for his business. My parents liked it. At that time, my father had won a small amount of money playing the stock market. They calculated that if they added their savings, it would be enough to buy me a house, so they wanted to buy me another house. I lived alone, so the size of the house didn't matter, and they didn't want them to touch my pension. After a while of arguing, we agreed to sell my current small house and use my father's stock to buy the other house. Today I had an appointment with the broker to discuss selling the house, but unexpectedly I ran into those two people. What a bad luck. On the other side, Chu Ju-min, when he heard that I wanted to sell the house, looked troubled, as if he wanted to say something but didn't dare. I told you not to quit your job in a hurry. You had to sell your house. Why don't you bring the whole team back to my company and I'll give you 1,000 more. He didn't even know that I had switched to working for Wenshi. Luke Tan, who was standing nearby, heard this and immediately interjected. But Ju-min, didn't you already invite a director from a big IT company? If Ms. Deng came back, there probably wouldn't be a suitable position anymore. Her voice was a little tense, probably afraid that I would really come back. Chu Ju-min calmed down for a moment and then said, "That's right. Deng man, if you go back, you'll probably have to start from a lower position. But don't worry, as long as you work hard, your old salary will be restored soon." I didn't bother paying attention to them, just continued talking to the broker about selling the house. Chu Ju-min frowned. "Deng man, you're still as arrogant as ever, but now you—" I couldn't help it anymore and interrupted him. "I'm changing houses, not selling them because I'm broke, thanks. And my current company is very good, the treatment is much better than yours, and it's also much more professional. Chu Ju-min doesn't believe it. I understand you are not used to being treated with courtesy, that's why. I was really tired, turned to look at the broker. He understood, immediately stepped out to shield me. Excuse me, Ms. Dung, and I still have some business to discuss. The staff in charge of the two of them also approached. I just found a cheap apartment. You two can check it out to see if it suits you. Oh, so they rented a house. At first they were so proud that they thought they bought a house. Chu Ju-min quickly put out the fire. My old house is being renovated, so I'm renting a temporary house to live in first. Luke Tantan hugged Chu Ju-min's right arm and said, Actually, Ju-min and I have already gotten back together. It's all thanks to Ms. Dung. I hope she will bless us. Just renting a house but acting like this, not only me but also the people around don't know how to express. Yeah, congratulations. The door was locked. They were momentarily speechless, so I took the opportunity to go into a private room with the broker to discuss the details. After a while, I never saw them again. After all, the distance between the two companies was too great, and there were not many points of intersection in the business circle. However, I still occasionally heard my subordinates tell some side stories that they heard from their former colleagues. After I left with the whole team, Uncle Ju-min's company began to plummet. He also tried to find a way to save the situation, and finally hired a plowman from a large corporation. This person's professional ability was average, but he was extremely picky about internal rules. Some positions only required completing the work properly, and did not require arriving early and leaving late, but he stipulated that coming late or leaving early would result in a deduction in pay. As a result, those who are good at their jobs but lazy to change jobs have also resigned one after another. Currently, the company is so late in paying salaries that they cannot afford it. The latest news is that the company has cut many employees and is preparing to move headquarters. From 3 floors now only 1 floor, moved to a building that is even older than when I first started. Life is truly unpredictable. During this time, Uncle Ju-min still occasionally changed his phone number to text me, reminiscing about the past. But I blocked him every time. After a while, he probably ran out of money to buy a new number, so I stopped. However, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't hide it for long. Besides, what I did at Wensure was not a secret, so Uncle Ju-min and Luke Tantan eventually found out. I met Uncle Ju-min again in the underground parking lot of Wensure. That day, I got off work and was about to get my car when suddenly someone rushed out from a hidden corner and grabbed my hand. I was startled and immediately stomped down on my high heels. The other person cried out in pain and let go. I looked closely and saw that it was Uncle Ju-min. Anger rose to his head and he went crazy. Uncle Ju-min gritted his teeth and said with hatred, "She dared to change jobs to auntie." I was confused. I had already quit, so where I went had nothing to do with him. Who wouldn't want to choose a better company? Who would want to bury their career at his place? He shouted, "Do you know? Do you know?" I looked at his crooked face and felt uneasy. My hand silently reached into my pocket to find the car key, while observing the way back. Luckily at that moment, a security guard heard the commotion and ran over. What surprised me even more was that when Tianyang was also beside me. Before the other two could speak, Uncle Ju-min went crazy when he saw Tianduong. "Did you do it on purpose? You know how important tolerance is to my company, yet you still intentionally dug her and the whole team away. Huh, these two people know each other?" Tianduong glanced at him and said coldly, "If you have the guts, try to recruit Director Dung again." This sentence seemed to stab Uncle Ju-min in the heart. He screamed like crazy. "What are you so good at, just relying on the name Wensure? Don't forget, Wensure isn't just yours, I have a part too." His arrogant words made even the security guard look at him with disdain. I also felt heavy, vaguely feeling like I had just accidentally uncovered a shocking secret of the rich. Wait, now that I think about it, Uncle Ju-min and Tianduong's facial features seemed to be somewhat similar. I suddenly woke up. It's just that, compared to Uncle Ju-min, it's clear that Tianduong grew up in much better conditions and is also much better than him. Tianduong continued to speak leisurely. Auntie's employees have the right to leave or stay freely. If you can come up with attractive enough conditions, I don't mind letting Director Dung find a better future. I kept feeling that there was a hint of challenge in that sentence. Uncle Ju-min turned to me and shouted, "Dung man, did you hear that? In his eyes, you were nothing special. I really don't understand his way of thinking. It's normal for people in the workplace to have two-way choices. Uncle Ju-min wanted to continue going crazy, but was stopped by the security team who arrived in time. The security guard asked if we should report it to the police, and when Tianyang turned to me for my opinion. Actually, I hoped he would never bother me again. But if I reported it to the police, the matter would only be criticized and educated, and nothing would be solved. So I tried to hold back my anger and said that I hoped the company would strengthen security in the future, and that I would forget about reporting it to the police. Uncle Ju-min had calmed down a bit, looked at An Tien-duong, and gritted his teeth, saying that I would definitely seek justice for my mother and take back what was rightfully hers. After he left, the security guard kept apologizing to me and An Tien-duong. It turned out that Uncle Ju-min had taken advantage of the moment when the security guard wasn't paying attention to sneak in with someone else. Normally, the parking lot of the An T building required a key card to enter. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get in. After the security guard left, only An Tien-duong and I were left in the parking lot. I nodded slightly. I'll go first, General Manager 1. He asked. General Manager Dong. Aren't you curious about the conversation just now? I'm not curious, thank you. I answered sincerely. Salaried employees only care about doing their job well and making more money. So I won't ask too much about when Tianyang's quick appearance after Uncle Ju-min sneaked into the parking lot. It must have been a coincidence, although I felt that the fact that I was there was something he didn't expect. When Tianyang smiled, that's good. I'm just afraid that Director Deng will be affected by what Dad said earlier. I invited you here because of your abilities. I believe this. The few months I spent working at Wensure have proven to me that whether Wen Tianyang has other intentions or not, at least he truly values my abilities. I smiled. I could feel that very clearly. Uncle Ju-min must have been overstimulated by An Tien-duong, and he lost control more and more, and started to compete for projects with An T at all costs. It must be said that when his company was still developing well, this was not entirely impossible. But the necessary condition was that customers had to pay attention to low prices, and An T did not care too much about such projects. But now it's different. To put it bluntly, you have to suffer for what you do. Under his own self-destructive hand, Uncle Ju-min's company officially declared bankruptcy right before the One family held their year-end party. What surprised me was Lu Qingqing was still by his side. Well, it seems like they are truly in love. If they just lived together like this, it would be fine. But Uncle Ju-min was so crazy before the company collapsed, so how could he come to his senses after bankruptcy? Sure enough, not long after, he made another big scene. On the day of the One Group's year-end party, in addition to young General Manager Wen Tianyang, Chairman Wan and his wife were also present. After a year of hard work, everyone ate and drank, drew lots, and were very happy. Who would have thought that in the middle of the party, Uncle Ju-min would suddenly appear with his mother, Ms. Meng Li, right in the banquet hall. President Wen's expression immediately changed, but Madame Wen remained calm, not even showing a trace of surprise, as if she had known they would come. Uncle Yao Ming pushed the wheelchair straight to President Wen. Along the way, many people started to cover their noses. It was understandable. Mrs. Manlu had been in bed for a long time, and Uncle Ju-min had been busy with work recently, so he definitely couldn't take good care of her. Looking at the mother and daughter, they seemed to have dressed up, but still couldn't hide the unpleasant smell coming from her. I glanced at Wen Tianyang. He was as calm as his mother. There was even a hint of a smile in his eyes. Oh, no wonder an outsider like Uncle Ju-min could push a wheelchair into the banquet hall chosen by the One family. Mrs. Manli's eyes were filled with affection as she stared at Chairman Wan, her voice trembling as she called out. President Wan finally reacted and quickly interrupted her. Who are you? Meng Li looked at her, looking confused. President Wan frowned, clearly showing his displeasure. Where are the guards? Who let someone in here? Manlu panicked and quickly pulled Chu Ju-min closer. Nia Sin, this is your son. Years ago, you promised to let him return to his family. Uncle Ju-min spoke loudly. Mom, don't beg this ungrateful man. We don't need him. I also did not want to enter the One family's house. Although he said so, his eyes were fixed on the One family on stage. Ambition, jealousy, and desire were all clearly visible without needing to be hidden. President Wan turned pale with anger. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't know you two. Security guard. Security immediately rushed in, and we staff could only look at each other. No one dared to say anything. I had heard that President Wen was very romantic when he was young, and had many love scandals. It was just that Mr. Wen was the one who held real power in the Wen family. So for all these years, Wen Tianyang was still the only one recognized as the third generation of the Wen family. The guards restrained Uncle Yao Ming and pushed Meng Li's wheelchair out. One person was alone, the other was lying in the wheelchair. No one could resist, and were quickly asked to leave the hall. Only Meng Li's screams still echoed from afar. Wen Yixing, do you still have a conscience? Before, you lied to me that you were about to get a divorce and said that Ju Min had a future, asking her to help you get the shares from your wife to take full control of Auntie. Now that she's bankrupt, you don't care. We all immediately lowered our heads, as if we didn't hear anything. No one dared to look at the faces of the three Wen family members on stage. Only then did I truly understand why Meng Li had looked down on me so much before. It turned out that she had always thought that Uncle Yao Ming would be able to return to the Wen family, and that I, an ordinary person, was not worthy of marrying into a wealthy family. Thinking back, in her eyes, Luke Tan Tan probably wasn't much better. And now I understand why Uncle Ju Min always told me not to bring financial magazines to the house. It turned out that in those magazines, Tian Duong appeared like a fat man. Uncle Ju Min hated him so much that he didn't want to see him even once. The party ended in a hurry, of course, but after Tet, all of us employees were surprised to see that the year-end bonus had been increased by a considerable amount. Because not long after the party, young General Director Tian Duong officially took over as the new chairman of Auntie Group. As soon as this news spread, it was said that the old man was so angry that he exploded. But very quickly after that, the former chairman appeared at the shareholders' meeting, officially apologizing for his youthful mistakes, and at the same time to stabilize the stock price. He also announced his retirement, transferring all his shares to Tian Duong, expressing his hope that Auntie would continue to develop under his leadership. Right after coming to the front, the new CEO immediately announced that the company would allocate a portion of this year's profits to increase the Tet bonus for employees. The whole company was like a festival. Everyone was excited. Luke Tan Tan came to me. Actually, I didn't want to see her. The receptionist was also very responsible, trying to stop her, but she kept clinging on and wouldn't leave, forcing me to go out and see her. Afraid of affecting the company's image, I reluctantly went down and went with her to a coffee shop near Auntie's headquarters. Dung man, go back to Ju Min, the person he truly loves is you. I hold her back. She spoke with a sincere expression, even a little hurried, holding my hand tightly. I'm telling the truth, every time he gets drunk he calls your name. I know you still love him, please forgive him. There must be something wrong with this, I calmly smiled faintly. He went bankrupt, so she let go of his true love. She immediately panicked. Why did she say that? If he still loved me, then rich or poor, I would stay with him for the rest of my life. But if he no longer loves me, and besides he hasn't reached the end of his rope, there's still a chance to start over, so don't worry. Her expression became more and more anxious, as if she was determined to reunite me and Zhou Yaoming. I ordered her to say, I am not getting back with my ex. Don't come looking for me again. If you mess with my work again, I'll call the police. No way. She couldn't leave. She stood up abruptly, the sound of the floor scraping loudly. She insisted on going back to him. I've been a regular customer at this coffee shop since I started working at Auntie. The waiter saw this and immediately ran over to ask if I needed help. I nodded. Help me call the police. Hearing me say that, Luke Tan Tan had no choice but to step back and leave in a miserable manner. But it was truly a match made in heaven, because when I got back to the apartment complex and parked my car, I saw Chu Ju Min standing under the streetlight waiting for me. I had no idea how he knew my new address. He was disheveled and slovenly dressed. A man, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? As long as you come back, I will cut ties with Luke Tan Tan. You help me restore the company, I am willing to transfer all the shares to you. I will listen to you in everything. As he spoke, he walked closer, his eyes filled with an unusual chaos. I took 2 steps back, my hand in my bag. Do you still have money to start the company again? Actually, I still have a house. If I sell it, I can get capital to start a new business. You bring the team back to me, we will definitely succeed again. Or you can sell the apartment here, move to my house, and take care of my mother at the same time. Anyway, after we get married, we will be one family. Sorry, I told Luke Tan that I won't eat the same food again. Please come back. Chu Jumin's face suddenly became distorted with anger. Is it because she loves Tian Duong? Why does he have to compete with me for everything? She is really cheap. I immediately took out the spray bottle from my bag and sprayed it straight at his face. Chu Jumin covered his face and howled in pain. After Luke Tan came to see me today, I felt uneasy, so when I got home I conveniently bought a can of self-defense spray. Sure enough, I had to use it. I kicked Chu Jumin and he immediately fell down. I turned around and ran away, calling the police as I ran. As a result, because Chu Jumin had not actually caused any harm, he was only given a warning, which I had expected, so I had to accept it. Please don't come again. Of course, I couldn't let Chu Jumin continue to deceive me, so I asked a friend I knew through work to introduce me to a very good private detective. 2 months later, everything ended. Chu Jumin will never be able to find me again. Actually, I forgot something before. Chu Jumin has never left his mother, Ms. Man Lu, for even a single step. His surname is Meng. He is the illegitimate son of the one family. So why does he have the surname Zhu? Of course it is because his mother found someone else to marry. To be more precise, she got pregnant with him when she married another man. If the other party knew the truth, it would definitely not be easy to accept. But Meng Li had kept this a secret from the beginning to the end. And Mrs. Chu Daidung's late unlucky husband was the only son in the family, with 3 older sisters. The Chu family loved and pampered Chu Daidung very much since he was young. After his early death, Chu Jumin naturally became the only remaining bloodline, the one the whole family placed their hopes on and devoted all their resources to. No matter how hard life was for the rest of the family, as long as they thought about the only heir living well, everyone would accept it. But it was all based on the premise that Chu Jumin was the biological son of the Chu family. The drama at the year-end party was quickly handled by the one group, suppressing the news that the Chu family was living a hard life. No one had time to go online, so they didn't know about it. Chu Jumin had never mentioned his paternal family before, so I always thought he only had a mother. Now that it was clear, of course I had to help them reunite. I sent an anonymous message to the Chu family, telling them the whole truth. Not long after, Chu Jumin's ex-husband's parents and 3 aunts came looking for him and his mother. The last information the detective sent me was a few photos of Zhou Yaoming and Mrs. Meng Li, their hair disheveled and their faces bruised, lying on the ground, surrounded by several members of the Zhou family with their sleeves rolled up, who said that old people in the countryside and migrant workers were weak. Their strength was not to be underestimated. The mother and son originally intended to change direction, make the one family take responsibility, and demand money. Fortunately, I had informed Wen Tianyong in advance, and he had secretly taken action. In the end, the Zhou family received a sum of money and withdrew. As for Zhou Yaoming and his mother, they were burdened with a debt of high interest that they would have to bear for the rest of their lives. As for Lu Qingqing, I later learned that the reason she was so eager to reunite with Zhou Yaoming was because after Zhou Yaoming lost everything, he refused to let her go and kept on stalking her. She could only make excuses that I had a good job, money, and was willing to help him, hoping that Chu Jumin would let her go in exchange for freedom. Oh, it turned out that she wanted me to suffer for her. Then I should also return her sincere feelings, so that the two of them, the destined couple, could be together. My previous blessing was definitely not for fun. Chu Jumin had given Lu Qingqing quite a few things before, and now that he couldn't save me, he heard that she had run away, and he went even crazier. He sent his mother to a cheap nursing home, and then, thanks to my anonymous tip, he tracked down Lu Qingqing when she was about to leave the city. As for whether this pair of stars made for each other will love or tear each other apart, I don't need to care anymore. In the end, I was in Mr. Tian Duong's office, reporting my work to him. After I finished reporting and was about to leave, Mr. Tian Duong called me back, apologizing for not stopping Uncle Jumin from coming to my house in time to harass me. I'm really sorry for scaring Ms. Deng last time. I'm fine, and finally, thanks to the general manager's help, I was able to resolve the matter. After all, arranging for someone else to get into credit card debt is not something I can handle. As for the final cleanup, I really have to thank Mr. Tian Duong for his help. It had to be done. If I let him continue to harass Ms. Deng, Wouldn't I risk losing a valuable assistant? General manager, you're exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. With a wonderful girlfriend and excellent employee like Ms. Dung, he really doesn't know how to appreciate her. I miss you, smiling lightly. As a good employee, I think I deserve it. As for the first ticket, if the CEO meets someone he likes in the future, he must treat that person well. Mr. Tian Duong looked at me intently for 3 seconds, then smiled. Of course. Actually, I didn't want to chat with Dung today. I wanted to announce some good news. It turned out that the general manager of the A City branch of the group was about to retire. Mr. Tian Duong wanted to appoint me as his replacement and wanted to ask if I would accept. Branch A in City A was developing very well. Being transferred, there was clearly a step up in the career ladder. My parents loved to travel, and I lived alone in this city, so going there wouldn't be any problem. I happily agreed. Not long after, I officially took up my position at Branch A. 2 months later, one morning when I was preparing to enter the conference room to chair a meeting, a hot news suddenly appeared on my phone screen: a marriage between the One family and the De family. It turned out that the chairman of Wen Tianyang's investigative group was preparing to hold an engagement ceremony with the young lady of the De family, another big family in the business world. I skimmed through a few lines and found that he was indeed a rich family. Even the engagement party was lavish. At this moment, my secretary came in to remind me that it was time for the meeting. I knew it. I put my phone in my pocket and headed straight to the conference room. That's it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more interesting stories. Goodbye and see you again.